In this video, we'll talk about what is probably one of the most appreciated and powerful features in Struct PIM, and that's business rules. So business rules allow you to automate processes in the background. So let's see what I mean by clicking settings. And right here under data governance, we see the business rules link here. Let's click this. And here we have the list of existing business rules that we've set up in this demo account. And let's just go through the process of creating a business rule from the ground up. Let's click create business rule right here. And here we can name the rule. So let's say that it has to do with create a task for video production. So we want to basically create a rule that automatically creates a task every time a product is new in our system. So let's say that we hit next here. So here we can select the trigger for this rule. And we have a lot of different options here. So the one that we want to use is related to our workflow. So let's search for workflows to filter our list. We can see this option is what we actually need here. So we'll select this option here and hit confirm. And now we've set up a trigger for this rule. But as things are set up now, we're actually running through this rule whenever a workflow state is changed. So we want to add a condition and limit this further. So we want to say that the condition is that it has to be in a certain workflow state. And here we can select this first state here, the new products. This is what we want. So let's say confirm. And we could even add multiple conditions here as well. But let's say we're happy with things as they are right now. So let's hit confirm again. So as we can see now, this has now added an if and else statement in our rule setup. So we can say if the workflow state is new products, we can run through an action. Otherwise, we can run through a different set of actions altogether. So let's just hit actions. And here we can see our entire list of actions that we can perform automatically in this rule. We can do everything from create a task, which is what we want to do in this case, but we could also throw an error to the user. We could start AI text generation in the background. We could start translation in the background. We could archive a product. We could change its product structure. We could change the workflow state automatically for a product. We could even do math operations here. We could calculate values based on existing data. We could even trigger subrules to run independently. So this rule would be able to trigger an entirely different rule. But let's just go up to the create a task action here. Select this. We can give the task a name. So the task should be called create video for product. And here we can select which user is responsible for this task. And we can also select a group of users. So let's just say that we want this user to be responsible. And here we can set the deadline for the task. And the way this is handled is that the deadline is relative to the task creation date. So this happens dynamically. And whenever the task is created, we can set the deadline to be things like 1 week, so 7 days related to the actual task creation date. So let's just hit confirm. And here we go. We now have a business rule set up that says every time a product workflow state is changed, if the workflow state is new products, then this action is executed. And if not, then nothing occurs from here. So as you can see, this is extremely powerful in and of itself. We can actually use business rules to automate entire processes. We can even do math operations. We could automatically classify products or change the workflow status for products based on certain criteria. So let's go back to our list of existing rules here and just take a look at some of these existing rules to see what is possible as well. So let's hit edit for this rule. And the name of this rule is calculate package volume. And we can see that the trigger here is when the product value is changed. So let's open, and we can see that the trigger is based on the field called package size from our data set. So we're basically saying that whenever the product value for this specific field is changed, then the rule should run. Let's go back here, and we can see that this rule in particular has no conditions set up, but it has this action. So the action is, let's open it up. So this is very interesting. This action is actually a math operation based on 3 parameters. So we're actually calculating the package volume based on existing data fields in our data set, and we're actually saving the value in this specific field, the package volume field. So super useful to be able to run through math operations as well. And one last thing I want to show you with business rules, because when we hover over this trigger, we can see that there is a play button. And what we can do here is that we can actually manually run the business rule instead of having to wait for this trigger to occur itself. We can actually manually run it here. And that's it about business rules. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to also check out some of our other feature highlight videos.